DouglasEHarding, On Having No Head, Zen and the Rediscovery of the Obvious. Welcome to a transformative journey into the essence of conscious experience, as explored in DouglasEHarding's book, On Having No Head, Zen and the Rediscovery of the Obvious. This summary will guide you through a thought-provoking exploration of one man's life-changing revelation about the absence of his head, leading to a deep dive into the nature of consciousness and the fundamental underpinnings of existence. We'll examine the significance of nothingness and dive into the parallels between the author's experiences and Zen Buddhism. This journey is an opportunity to challenge your understanding of self, existence, and reality.
The Headless Void, a life-changing experience. At 33, the author had a transformative experience while hiking in the Himalayas that led him to reflect on the nature of consciousness. He entered a state where he forgot his name and became fully present in the moment, perceiving the world without language. Notably, he saw a headless void and became aware of the absence of his physical self. This void was not empty but filled with the world around him, which he experienced as a self-luminous reality shining in the void. This experience brought the author peace and joy, inspiring his reflections on the nature of consciousness. The Headless Void. To the author, his experience in the Himalayas brought a new realization about self, that his perception of himself was flawed. Initially, he viewed himself as a person living inside a house with two windows for eyes, but his experience showed him that there was only one window to his overall visual field, and more peculiarly, it wasn't even a window with a frame, it was a headless void. In that void, images fused with the void in a single unified reality, and there was nothing intervening or separating them. This experience showed the author the simplicity of perception and how the usual self-conception we have is a flawed one. Where's your head at? Have you ever wondered why you can't see your own head? This book delves into the concept of consciousness and the limitations of the human mind. Through exploring the visual field of the reader, the author emphasizes that our minds create an illusion of reality by piecing together various images from our surroundings. While pondering the nature of perception and consciousness, readers may find themselves grappling with the limitations of their own mind. The illusion of seeing your own head. We can't see our own head but only splotches of color in a mirror or photograph, which we interpret as a reflection or photographic reproduction of our head. Even when we think we're seeing our nose, we're just seeing splotches of color that we interpret as our nose. A nose is a three-dimensional part of the body, not a couple of splotches of color. The illusion of our bodies. The book challenges our perception of our bodies, arguing that we cannot see any part of it, even our nose, as it's just an image interpreted by our brain. It questions if we truly have a body or if it's just a visual perception we hold on to. The author proposes further objections to support this claim and will continue the discussion in subsequent sections. Do we really have bodies and heads? Our belief in the existence of our bodies and heads is based on interpretations of sensations and perceptions, rather than direct evidence. While we may feel aches and touch certain body parts, we can't be sure that these sensations correspond to external objects. All we have are inferences, not established facts. The claim that we don't have bodies or heads is more reasonable than it may seem. Do we really have bodies? This excerpt challenges the common belief that we possess a body and questions the reliability of testimony and scientific evidence to support this notion. Do we really have a body? This book's summary excerpt dares to ask this thought-provoking question. The author begins by stating that we can't see our own heads, and expands the claim further by suggesting that we may not have a body at all based on our senses' direct evidence. One might argue that other people's testimony could prove the existence of our bodies, but the author posits that they're in the same position as us, and all they perceive are colored shapes and sensations of touch, sound, smell, and taste. The author then explores the possibility of scientific evidence proving the existence of our bodies. While a scientist could examine various parts of our body using microscopes and scanners, the author argues that all they see are still just pictures. However, through scientific methods, a scientist can explain how our brain works, which is considered the source of our consciousness, and how it is a part of our body. Overall, this passage challenges us to question the common assumptions we have about ourselves and the world around us. It prompts us to contemplate the reliability of sensory perception, testimony, and scientific evidence and reflect on their limitations in defining our reality. The science of consciousness. The scientific explanation of consciousness asserts that we do not have physical bodies. Our vision is a product of light waves that trigger chemical changes in light-sensitive cells inside our retinas. These cells pass the agitation on to other cells, creating a signal that reaches a certain part of our brain, where it gets converted into a consciously experienced image. This point is where the visual experience of consciousness springs into being. Our overall experience of consciousness consists of various sensations of sight, sound, taste, and so forth. We are surrounded by a realm in which we can only find splotches of color and things of that sort, and all sensations and perceptions correspond to various types of neurological activities. The interpretation of these experiences only exists in our conscious experience. The scientist's story provides further corroboration of the argument that the mountain we see is not an object existing outside of us, but just an image corresponding to some neural excitement happening inside our brains. Beyond our immediate experiences. Imagine viewing the world as a canvas without a surface. That is what our immediate visual experience comprises. In this field of perception, we observe several colored shapes, which we label as mountains, hills, or grass. However, these labels are mere associations that we attribute to the images in our visual field. Our immediate experience contains no distance, and there's no separate entity except for the shapes we see. We can project distance onto these forms, but that's not a part of the shapes themselves. The understanding of our surroundings is only a sequence of reasoning that we add to our experience. Thus, as far as we can tell, there's nothing beyond our immediate experiences. The significance of nothingness. Nothingness is an essential component of our consciousness and is present in all aspects of our experiences, from visual perceptions to thoughts and emotions. The absence of something allows room for something else to exist, making nothingness the precondition for everything we experience. Focusing our attention on this nothingness enables us to understand the underlying nature of our consciousness, which lies at the heart of nothingness. The heart of consciousness. The concept of nothingness at the core of consciousness challenges Western beliefs about selfhood and reality. Our common-sense notions of a subject-object duality, mind-body dualities, and an internal mental world existing separately from an external material world are all challenged by the idea that consciousness is a single continuum of experience where thoughts, feelings, and perceptions are all fused together into a unified whole. This challenges our assumptions about who we are as conscious human beings and calls for a new conception of selfhood. Zen Buddhism and the Path to Serenity. In his quest to make sense of his Himalayan experience, the author turned to the collection of aphorisms in the Heart Sutra, a well-known text in Mahayana Buddhism, and found similar experiences described in the works of Zen Buddhism masters. These experiences show a deep sense of inner peace that comes with the vision of reality where there is no isolating separation between oneself and the world around them. This understanding of reality is expressed as nothingness, and yet, in it, we find everything, the whole world that fills up our voids, resting in a state of self-contained perfection.
In conclusion, the book On Having No Head, by DouglasEHarding takes the reader on a profound exploration of the nature of consciousness and the roles that nothingness and presence play in our existence. As the summary unfolded, we ventured into the author's Himalayan experience and learned about the role of nothingness, driving into the core of Zen teachings and challenging the assumptions of Western consciousness. The key takeaway from this enriching journey is that, when we embrace the interconnectedness of all things and the absence of separation, we rediscover an inner serenity, sense of unity, and understanding of self within the world.